Everyone, the time is 7:04 p.m., Monday, March 18th. Welcome to the meeting of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. My name is Jamie Ochoa, and I am the chairman for this committee. Mr. Secretary, can we do a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Parenti is absent. Ms. Jager Rudnicki.
Here.
Mr. Babowitz is absent. Teresa Sasko.
Here.
Mr. Woods is absent. Mr. Peterson.
Here.
Okay, and Chairman Ochoa.
Here. Okay, with that, the CDC has a quorum present. Business items. We need a motion to approve the minute meeting from February 26, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes, February 26, 2024.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed signify by stating no. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. Moving on to our public hearing. Mr. Conway, as chairman, I request that you serve as public hearing facilitator.
Certainly. For our public hearings, all testimony will be given under oath. At the hearing, there'll be an opportunity for the public to offer testimony and to comment. Following the public hearing, the CDC's deliberations will be open to the public, in the sense that all are invited to listen and to watch. The public, however, may not speak during the CDC's deliberations. We ask that the applicants here tonight give specific evidence as to demonstrate that the proposal meets the standards of approval for the request. The burden is on the applicant to prove the case. Additionally, city staff will provide a description of the proposal followed by their analysis. Tonight, city staff happens to also be the applicant. With respect to others who wish to speak, you may give an opinion or present specific evidence as to why you believe the applicant meets or fails to meet the standards for the request. Finally, we'll strictly adhere to the schedule prepared for tonight's meeting. However, those wishing to submit evidence and testimony will be afforded sufficient time within which to do so. Whether you're a member of the public wishing to make a statement for the record or a witness testifying on behalf of an applicant, you'll be placed under oath and then begin by stating your name and address. You'll be subject to questions by the Community Development Commission and potential cross-examination by the applicant. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, we request that you limit your remarks to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued to the next available hearing day. Okay, I'll call tonight's hearing matter at CDC 2024-0003. This case involves a staff-initiated request for text amendments to the UDO as to property public notice signs for upcoming CDC public hearings. Staff seeks to enhance the visibility, readability, and understanding of the public notice signs required to be displayed on properties subject to a public hearing for zoning petitions by adopting a standard messaging that will be utilized for a variety of petition types. We're at this point. I'll swear staff in. You please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Okay, can you please indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have a certificate of publication from the newspaper?
Yes, the notice of this public hearing was published in the Daily Herald newspaper on March 1st, 2024, and the certificate of publication is on file with the Community Development Department.
Okay, perfect. Do you have a presentation you'd like to make?
I do.
All right.
Okay, as Mr. Conway alluded to, city staff are proposing certain text amendments tonight to the Unified Development Ordinance, really pertaining to the content requirements for notice of public hearing signs. So the purpose of this amendment is to enable the city to provide clearer and better notice of pending CDC petitions, especially to passing motorists. So just for a little context and background, when a specific property is subject to a zoning petition, such as a variation, a special use, PUD, etc., city staff prepare and install a temporary sign that's visible from the adjacent public right-of-way. This helps ensure transparency and that there's an opportunity for public participation. It may allow members of the public to attend and ask questions and really make their voice heard if they have specific concerns about the proposal. So currently, the city code requires notice be given by publication in the newspaper, by mail, and by sign to property owners within 250 feet of the subject property. And this aspect will not change. Really, the catalyst for this proposed amendment was the fact that the signs currently utilized by the city suffer from a lot of maintenance issues and a lack of legibility. The UDO requires that all notices contain the specific date, time, place, common street address, parcel index number, and other information about the property. This requires a unique paper sign insert to be printed for each petition, as you can see here. Due to the large volume of text required on each sign, the text is often small, which can make the sign difficult to read from a distance. Additionally, the signs are prone to tipping over, leaking from rain, condensation, and as you can see here, damage from snowplows. Replacing these existing signs with more durable materials, we feel, may help prevent this from happening in the future. So to better understand current trends in public notice signs in surrounding communities, staff surveyed municipalities really in a 10-mile radius around Wooddale. And we found that there were generally 3 types of signs in use: standard signs, semi-custom, and fully custom. Standard signs incorporate generic messaging printed on metal or plastic, often mounted to an A-frame type structure, as you can see here, figure 1 from Schaumburg. Semi-custom signs contain mostly standard text, but have space for changeable copy, for example, the date or the case number. And finally, there are fully custom signs, which is Wooddale's current practice. But as stated, this approach suffers from several maintenance issues. So this chart kind of summarizes our research into the 18 surrounding communities we looked at. While there's some variability, standard or generic signs were found to be most common. And through conversations with planning staff in those other communities, the generic signs were really identified as the most preferred and practical solution being used right now. So the text amendment we're proposing, or excuse me, the current code really regulates content through section 17202E. And the purpose of the text amendment we're proposing tonight is to allow generic notice on the city's public hearing sign that can be used for multiple types of petitions. So rather than saying this is a variation, this is a PUD, this is a special use, it'll just be generic, and it'll say contact community development for more information. Text has also been added to clarify all 3 types of notice be published no more than 30, but no fewer than 15 days prior to the hearing. So just kind of cleaning up some of those minor, grammatical errors and just adding that text for clarity. And then finally, a few additional grammatical changes by removing redundant references to the UDO. To ensure compliance with all applicable state statutes, the city's legal counsel did review the proposed text amendment and raised no major objections. No state statute or case requires property posting notice in connection with any type of zoning change, so the city really has the ability to modify these requirements as necessary as they see fit. So to address these maintenance and legibility issues, city staff are proposing adopting, again, that generic public hearing sign, which would align Wooddale with best practices in neighboring communities. The new signs will most likely be manufactured from metal or a similarly durable material, and the Community Development Department will work with Public Works to identify the most appropriate material and mounting technique as we move forward. We anticipate that at least 7 signs, double-sided, will be purchased to replace the city's current stock. And although the exact dimensions have not been finalized, each sign face is expected to measure about 3 feet by 3 feet or 9 square feet in area. As seen here, the sign would include contact information for the Community Development Department, so inquiries can be addressed directly by planning staff via email or phone. Staff received no public comments prior to tonight's hearing. And in terms of UDO and comprehensive plan compliance, the proposed text amendment will help the city work towards goals in the comp plan, such as Goal 1, connecting Wooddale citizens to government. The objectives advanced by fostering a communicative atmosphere in the city, expanding transparency between the government and citizens, and encouraging easier public participation by facilitating, again, that clearer notice for nearby residents and passing motorists alike. Finally, the proposed amendment we feel is consistent with the purpose and intent of the UDO, which is to implement the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan, promoting public health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare of the people. Again, ultimately, the purpose of the requested text amendment is to facilitate better notice by allowing the city to procure new signs which are more durable and readable. City staff recommend approval of the proposed text amendment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any member of the CDC have any questions for staff on this presentation? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if that 250 feet was a standard amongst the surrounding suburbs.
So in our research, we didn't get quite that detailed in terms of the buffer, but we feel that generally, notifying property owners really by mail and by newspaper, within that 250 feet buffer is sufficient in terms of, what will the immediate impact of the development have on the surrounding neighbors. And beyond that, maybe there's less of a direct visual or traffic impact or whatever, so.
Yeah, I'd like to see it expanded a little bit, maybe, if it's possible. I don't know. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, let me swear you in.
Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Portia.
One thing I wanted to add, the mailed notice requirements are not changing. Currently, it is 250 feet. When we went through the UDO change a couple years ago, we did discuss this topic, and that is only our city's requirement. We are not required per state statute to actually do mailed notices. This is just something that we're choosing to do. So really the topic of this meeting is just the content of the public hearing signs that will be posted on the property. The distance requirements are not something that is being discussed right now.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? No. On this matter? Okay. Making my final call before we close the public hearing. Okay, there being no further questions for staff on this matter, can I have a motion to close the public hearing for CDC case number 2024-0003? Anybody say so moved?
So moved.
And do I?
Seconded.
Okay. Okay, we'll just do a voice vote for this. All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. All right, the motion passes. The public hearing portion for hearing case number CDC 2024-0003 is now closed. Now we're in the CDC deliberation portion. Does anybody have any particular comments or statements they'd like to make about this matter?
Nope. Good initiative. Making a change. If you feel that this is what we needed to do, good initiative.
Yeah, I will just say, just from a legal perspective, the state law doesn't require signs on property at all. So that's just a requirement in our own code. A lot of municipalities have a property posting requirement like we do. The main function for a property posting is to alert people in the community, hey, there's going to be a public hearing as to this property. So what it seems like staff is proposing is, if we're going to alert the public, let's make sure we do it the best way we can. So this is...
And I think if anybody over 250 feet have any interest in what's happening, they obviously drive by the property, so they should see the sign. And if it's gonna affect them, they can call, it's directed on the sign.
Yeah, so just so you know, the 250-foot requirement, that applies just to the mailed notices. So, if your property is within 250 feet of the property that's requesting the zoning, you're entitled to a mailed notice as opposed to just newspaper or the sign. Okay.
Not a question, but more of a just curious. The city website address on the, maybe, no? Well,
So, it's obviously a suggestion that can be made. It looks like we have the email address
Yeah.
up there so that folks can email. It's probably the best thing to do, so that they can get in touch with staff directly, and the staff can give them more information on the zoning request. The website, it really is not going to have any information until they post a packet. So if folks are interested, they could actually reach out to staff and say, hey, can I come in and take a look at the packet? And you can do that way before it has to be posted on the website. Okay, any other general comments or statements? All right, then we'll move to a vote on this. I'm going to recommend a motion. Remember, if you vote yes, you're voting in favor of the amendments. If you vote no, it's because you are wanting to recommend denial of the amendments. All right, so here is the recommended motion. Based on the submitted petition and the testimony presented, the proposed text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code, is consistent with the comprehensive plan and is in keeping with the purpose and intent of the UDO. And therefore, I move that the Community Development Commission adopt the recommendations of the staff memo dated March 18th, 2024, as the findings of the Community Development Commission, and recommend to the City Council approval of the text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code, that would amend the content requirements for notice of public hearing signs in case number CDC 2024-0003. That's the motion. Anyone can say so moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and on this one, I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Yeager-Rudnicki,
Yes.
Ms. Zatsko,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
and Chairman Ochoa.
yes.
Okay, the measure passes. This matter will be recommended for approval to the City Council at the next PZB meeting. Not sure exactly when that's going to be. Do you guys know?
I don't have the date yet.
Okay. Well, we'll go to PZB,
It will
and
be
then from there,
April.
it'll go on to full City Council.
Mhm.
Okay, so that concludes tonight's hearing. Mr. Ochoa, I see the floor back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Conway. We'll move on with the next item for tonight, staff liaison report.
We don't have anything to report other than we are planning to have a meeting in April. I believe the date is the 15th of April. So far, there's one petition on the agenda.
Got it, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to adjournment. We need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. To adjourn.
Second.
There be a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed signify by saying no. The motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.